Hello everyone, and welcome to this Let's Play of Kaiserreich, Legacy of the Weltkrieg. And today, I will be playing as a nation that I have never played as before in Kaiserreich. And that nation is none other than the Kingdom of Sweden. So, that is true. I've never played as Sweden before in Kaiserreich. And now that Sweden, just a few months ago, has been completely fixed up and revamped in Kaiserreich, I think I'm ready to play as the Kingdom of Sweden now, for the first time in Kaiserreich. So let's set things up. Okay, this is that's just a bug. Don't know why that's there. But anyways, let's get started. Okay, let me research some tank technology. Now, the issues at hand. While we enjoy relative prosperity compared to other countries in Europe, the people are still not satisfied. We cannot ignore the issues, both economic and social, that we face as a nation. As our term winds down, we must be sure that we have done everything we can for the Swedish people, especially as we seek re-election. Political power plus 100. Okay, so let me build some military and civilian factories. Okay, I have room for civilian factories in the south of Sweden. Okay, so the King of Sweden and the head of state of Sweden is King Gustav V, and we are currently under a social conservative government. And the party is known as the okay, hopefully I pronounced this right. Allmänna Valmansförbundet. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And our Prime Minister is Gustav Baga. Our Foreign Minister is Christian Günther. Our Economy Minister is Gustav Kassel. Our Minister of Interior is Carlos Adlercreutz. And yeah, that's our cabinet in a nutshell. And we have 3 national spirits. Conservative Army leadership, leader experience gain, minus 10.0%. Land doctrine speed, minus 20%. The Swedish army has fallen in somewhat of a doctrinal slump. Failing to catch up to the rapidly changing tactics of war, it will be up to the government to bring them up to speed. We also have Statare, consumer goods factories, minus 5%. Stability, minus 10.00%. Statare are contract workers on an annual basis of the lowest class of Swedish society. They are paid in kind with foodstuffs rather than with money, and their continued existence as a relic of the pre-modern era has become somewhat of a national embarrassment due to their poor conditions. And finally, political instability. Stability minus 10.00%. With the retirement of the popular Prime Minister Arvid Lindman and the ascension of the hardly charismatic Gustav Baga in his stead, the General Electoral League are in a dip, failing to energize voters where opposition leader Per Albin Hansson seems to be more successful. And naturally, not everyone is excited with the prospect of social democratic rule. Okay. Now let's set up our armies, but first, let's look at the Navy. Now let's look at the army. So, my goal, playing as Sweden, is to do a couple of things. If Norway falls to syndicalism or socialism, I will take them over. And if Denmark either is not in the Reichspakt or goes to war against the Reichspakt, I will try and take them over, and also find a way to take over Iceland. And my goal in doing all of that will be to create the Nordic Federation, which I can do later on in the focus tree, right here. And maybe I'll take over Finland if they rebel against the Reichspakt. Okay, now it's time to set up my armies.
Uppställning!
I gotta... Let me have some armies. Let me send these guys to Oslo.
Ja! Ja! Uppställning! Order!
No, hang on, hang on.
Ja!
There's Narvik.
Manöver! Manöver!
Now let me create a front. I'm sorry. No, wait.
Uppfattat!
I want to invade Copenhagen. Well, not yet, but I want this to be my way to... Hang on. Let me create battle lines. Okay. Will that even work out? I have a better idea. Maybe have them invade from Göteborg. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Okay. Copenhagen. No divisions. That's weird. Okay, let me make these guys different armies. Let me move these guys here.
Order! Manöver! Ja! Uppfattat! Uppställning! Uppställning! Utgå! Uppställning! Uppställning!
Alright, now it's time to set up my armies. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So my main concerns are invading Norway and Denmark. Then I'll worry about Finland later. But first I gotta... Okay, first... Okay, it's January 1st of 1936. Let's get this started. Okay. Oh, don't forget. Let me assign my generals. Okay. But first let me read this. Sweden in 1936. After the Germans stood victorious in the Weltkrieg, Sweden had to adjust to a new world order. As such, few considered it surprising when the Swedish government announced that Sweden would join the German Organization of Middle Europa. Benefiting heavily from this, Arvid Lindman and his conservatives managed to fend off the social democratic attempts to take over power through electoral triumph, solidly putting down Sweden on the map as the conservative bulwark of Scandinavia. This may change, however, as Lindemann retired 2 years ago. This year, the new leader, Gustav Bagge, who had succeeded Lindemann as prime minister, will lead his first elections. Will he too be able to fend off his nemesis on the opposition, per Albin Hansen? För Sverige. Okay.
Ja, befäl! Uppfattat!
Alright, let me assign my generals now.
Order! Uppfattat!
Okay, that's not good. Okay, so now let me
Ja, befäl!
put some field marshals in charge. I'll go with all up there now.
Ja, befäl! Uppfattat!
So basically, okay, So basically, sort of as a consequence of Germany's victory in World War I, Sweden is still, in this world, one of the most conservative countries in Scandinavia, as it was historically before World War I. But after World War I in our world, Sweden eventually became one of the most liberal countries in Scandinavia. And in real history, Per Albin Hansson of the Social Democrats became prime minister in 1932. Whereas in this world, because Sweden is still the conservative bulwark of Scandinavia, he never came to power. So, interesting. So Sweden, as of 1936, is not a member of the Reichspakt, but it can be later. However, Sweden is a member of Middle Europa, which is the German Economic Alliance. But we're not a member of the Reichspakt, but we can join it later, which is interesting because in real history, Sweden was known as a neutral nation during both world wars. But here, Germany can join, but here, Sweden can join in the Second Weltkrieg, and usually does, whereas in our world, Sweden was completely neutral during World War II, and to this day is still a neutral nation. But anyway, let's continue. Alright, so my battle plans against Norway look good. They usually do fall to, ever since the rework of Scandinavia, they've usually fallen to socialism. So, yeah. Oh, and I gotta assign provinces for these troops to be deployed in. Oh, sorry. I have to assign provinces and regions. Sorry. I have to assign regions for these troops to be deployed to. We'll go with Jämtland. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Västergötland. Smeland. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. I can always do research later, but my apologies if I'm pronouncing anything here incorrectly. Lapland. That's not too hard to pronounce. Kiruna. Torna Valley. Again, not too hard to pronounce. Alright, let me deploy the armored unit. Oh, I already did that. I just had to deploy the last armored unit. Okay, and let me just look at something. Am I even building any armored stuff? Okay, I'll worry about that later. Interesting. Okay, Black Monday happened. That's not good. Let me assign an intelligence minister. I'll go with Georg Andrein. Okay, interesting. Okay. Okay. That was quick. Okay. Address the people's pleas. The Social Democrats do not have a monopoly on charity. We must use our position to work towards the betterment of our citizens, especially as economic downturn and a divisive upcoming election seek to tear the intricately woven social fabric. We must ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens. Change in popularity of social conservatism, 5.00%. What decisions do I have? I'll worry about that later. I want to save my political power. Let me just look at the focus tree for a second. Black Monday arrives in Sweden. 2 weeks ago, the German stock market imploded, and now the waves have come crashing to our shores as the first. And now the waves have come crashing to our shores as first the Stockholmsbörsen followed the fate that played out in Berlin, and soon after the rest of the economy followed suit. Since the Weltkrieg, Sweden has become highly dependent on German trade, joining its organization Middle Europa together with Denmark. As such, our trade relations became increasingly one-sided, aimed at countries in the tariff-free zone, Germany, Denmark, and the German puppet states on the Baltic coast, at the cost of other trading partners such as Norway and Great Britain, with whom trading is subject to tariffs, or in the latter case, even embargoes. Herra min skapare. Herra min skapare. What does that mean? Okay, but what's the effect of this? I gain the National Spirit Black Monday, which grants consumer goods factories 20%, construction speed, and production efficiency cap, and factory output, and dockyard output, all minus 25.00%. And I'll gain minus 2.00 base stability. Sorry, I'll gain base stability minus 2.00%. Okay, Herra min skapare. That means, oh my lord. Just looked it up on Google Translate. Learn something new every day. Okay, now I have the Black Monday spirit. Okay, so apparently if I go down the Social Democrat route, I can dissolve the monarchy. I'm not sure I want to do that, though. I'm not sure if I want to turn Sweden into a republic. I can always not do it. I don't know. Kind of, who should I pick? I'm kind of divided. I'll worry about the army stuff later. First I'm going to worry about, I'm going to do these three focuses. These three political focuses. Okay. Let me pick a military, let me pick a chief of staff. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Ernst auf Klerker. Division organization plus 10.0%, and same for division recovery rate. And he is School of Psychology. Okay, so Denmark is no longer in the Reichspakt because, oh shoot, this isn't good. The Soviet Union's back under Nikolai Bukharin. Oh no. Let's hope they don't antagonize us. I don't know. Okay, interesting. When's something interesting going to happen with Finland? What's going on with Finland anyway? Did they decide to stay loyal to Germany? I hope not. Okay, apparently... You know what? I just gotta be patient. Hang on. Okay, apparently nothing's going on in Finland. Let me just save here. Okay, but something should happen in Finland later this year. I've never played as Finland either, but I hope to soon. That should be fun. Okay. I'm more worried about the Soviet Union, or Soviet Russia. Soviet Russia. Okay. Okay, I need more infantry equipment. Can I build more military factories? Hang on. Yes, I can. In, Svealand. Oh, no, okay, I can't. I can't. Forget about that. Okay. Let me look at my decisions. When can I invade Åland? Later. 5-year commemoration of Adalen. In May 1931, a large march of strikers marched towards the barracks for bag legs who were working at local factories. The police had called in the military for support, and before the day was over, the riots had ended in 5 strikers being killed by military fire. Ever since then, yearly marches are held in memory of the dead workers among socialists, although conservatives claim that the workers are armed and attack them first. The strikes of this year are unusually large. What should we do? Let them. They'll tire eventually. Let them. They'll tire eventually. Wasn't once enough? Send in the military. I don't know. I'll just let them do it. I don't see any harm in letting them do it, to be honest. Right, September is when the elections start. Okay, Per Albin Hansen criticizes our crisis response. Per Albin Hansen, leader of the Sverige Socialdemokratiska Arbetareparti, SAP, and widely considered to be the foremost leader of the opposition, has sharply condemned the Bog cabinet's response to the ongoing economic upheaval, calling their faith in non-intervention dangerous and damaging to Sweden. He once again called out in favor of his own Folkhemmet program that he claims will actually protect those that have lost their jobs to the crisis originating in Germany. We are doing what we can, so social conservatism will go down in popularity by 2.00%, and social democracy will increase by 2.00%. Reassure big business. We must ensure the continued support from corporations for our capital. Okay, I'll read that in a minute. There are research there. Basic machine tools and trench warfare. Or should I do superior firepower? I'll just go with Grand Battle Plan. Trench warfare and basic machine tools. Okay. Reassure big business. Reassure big businesses. We must ensure the continued support from corporations for our cabinet. They are an essential cornerstone of Sweden's economy and must be reassured that we are on their side. We don't intend... Well, it should be we don't intend. Little typo there. And must be reassured that we are on their side and don't intend to hinder them with pointless regulations. A few investments will suffice in exchange for their loyalty. Gains, reassured business, which grants civilian factory construction speed and dockyard construction speed. Both plus 10.00% for 180 days. Alright, let me pause the game for a second. Now I have to read this. Okay. Rising SSV membership. Although the opposition is clearly led by the SAP, two smaller socialist parties are active as well. Thus varies is Socialdemokratiska Vänsterparti, SSV, which would identify as radical socialists who are strongly in favor of the cause of the so-called Third Internationale, and the Vänsterpartiet Totalisterna, VPT, which partakes this year for the first time in the Swedish elections. Especially the former party is seeing sharp increases in its membership over the years as the social democratic failure to dethrone the perpetual conservative government causes radicalization among the ranks. We can only welcome the left fracturing. Change in popularity of social democracy minus 2.00%, and change in popularity of radical socialism 1.00%. Interesting. Okay. Finland is still a kingdom. Okay, I'm still waiting for regime change in Finland. Karin Boye releases Förlita. Karin Boye, a prominent author, poet, and female rights activist colored by socialism, has just released her latest piece. It's a novel called Förlita, Too Little for Too Late, and centers around the themes of working to achieve your dreams or make your ends meet, and your responsibility to yourself as a person, to your family and friends. Boye is very popular, and her new novel is a success. I shall have to read it sometime. Political power plus 25. And Boye can be a potential radical socialist leader for Sweden. But that comes later. I'll worry about that later. Uh-oh. So it looks like Tukhachevsky became leader of Soviet Russia, and now Soviet Russia is the Soviet Republic, and is now taking on a sort of internationalist and totalist hardline Bolshevik stance. Interesting. And the totalists also came to power in Great Britain, or the Union of Britain, I should say. Who wins in Italy is anyone's guess. But Poiré is still in power in France. Okay, apparently the status quo was the case in France. That's interesting. Arvid Lindman supports the Baga cabinet. Longtime Prime Minister and former leader of the Allmänna Valmansförbundet, AV General Electoral League, Arvid Lindman has publicly spoken out in favor of the government, declaring his utmost faith in Baga and rallying voters to support the party he used to lead to the polls. Lindman has ruled Sweden from 1906 to 1911, and then ruled continuously from 1924 until his retirement in 1934. Many consider his charismatic personality the foremost reason that the Conservatives did not lose control to the Social Democrats like in Denmark. Many doubt whether Baga will similarly be able to conserve General Electoral League dominance in Swedish politics, and many view the elections of 1936, first elections with Baga as the Conservative leader, as influential in determining this. Thank you, old friend. Change in popularity of social conservatism, 2.00%, political power plus 50. As Sweden, I'm probably going to go down. Hang on. Okay. Let me research the Landsverk Leo. I already researched the Stridvagen M31, so now I'm going to research the Landsverk Leo. The Landsverk Leo. I'll research that now. Okay. Let me have as my chief of army. Okay, interesting. I'll have Archibald Douglas as my chief of army. now there's totalists in Italy as well. France is the only country that isn't totalist here. Interesting. Agricultural reforms. As we continue modernizing Sweden, we must ensure that nobody is left behind. While urban industry is vital to our success, rural farms and towns are important as well. We shall touch up some of our laws to assist them and some investments as well. Effect gains national spirit agricultural reforms, which grants monthly population plus 10.0% and max factories and estate plus 10%. Awesome. I guess I could always invade Finland later. If I'm a part of the Reichspakt, then I could always have Germany, through consul commands, get rid of their non-aggression pact, but whatever. I'll worry about that later. SAP refuses to rule out cooperation with radicals. Shocking news, as Hansen refuses to rule out the formation of a coalition with the SSV if the outcome would be so that it would be the most democratic to do so. The SSV's open desire to end the Swedish system, as it is in favor of a socialist form of government like in France and Britain, though its Swedish characteristics as outlined in their party program, causes the utmost concern among those in the right wing. The SAP shows its true colors. Change in popularity of radical socialism, 2.00%. Gain-based stability, minus 5.00%. Okay, so as Sweden, I think I'm going to go down the opposition victory tree just to mix things up. And that can lead to a number of scenarios, like Sweden becoming socialist, or a military dictatorship, or even national populist. But I think I'm going to keep Sweden democratic. And that'll make it even more of a challenge to conquer different countries. Since if you're a democratic country, you need 75% world tension to conquer different countries. Whereas if you're authoritarian, you only need like 50%. So I think it'd be, honestly, more cool of a challenge to like try and play Sweden democratic and still, try and take over different countries. Okay, change has come to Finland, and now Finland is a national populist dictatorship under Martti Valenius. Okay, I'm gonna have to declare war on him later. Or he might declare war on me, so I gotta keep soldiers along the border. Okay, a vote for the SAP is a vote for Paris. As a result of the news that the Social Democrats are open to cooperation with outright radicals, the General Electoral League has started a propaganda war. They openly target SAP voters, claiming the SAP supports the Third Internationale and that any vote for them would directly correlate to a vote for the syndicalist regime in France. Despite a sharp SAP rebuke of this rhetoric, and while few actual SAP voters will be swayed by this, it does seem to have successfully played on the emotions of the Liberal Folk Party voters to the League, who start to consider the SAP a very real danger to their fortunes. They start to see the AB as a much more capable faction to stand up against SAP's wicked plans than the Folk Party. Nothing personal, Anderson. Change in popularity of social conservatism, 2.00%. Change in popularity of market liberalism, minus 2.00%. Okay. Let me look at the conservative focuses. Okay, I gain a lot of manpower if I go down the conservative route. Okay, I can only go down the forced abdication route if I'm in coalition as the Social Democrats with the SVV. So maybe I can, maybe if I have Hansen victorious, I can just not go into a coalition with the SVV. Because I think I want to keep the monarchy around. I don't want to rock the boat too much.
Gå! Manöver!
Alright, let me create another front. Another army against Finland. Interesting.
Order!
Wallonia is its own country now. While Flanders and Wallonia apparently became different countries. Interesting. Okay. Debate over the military expenses. As the election approaches and Gustav Vasa and his minister have to consider the very real possibility of a potential defeat, the government has scheduled a debate to approve at least the Swedish budget of 1936 with the current Reichspakt. The Vasa cabinet seeks to maintain the heavy investments in the military to which the Social Democratic opposition is heavily opposed, claiming that there is no direct threat to Sweden at this time and that the money would be better spent elsewhere to make the lives of Swedes better. The Conservatives try to counter this by arguing that the global tensions are rising and that worrisome events in Norway and Finland could directly threaten Sweden in the future. The government holds a majority in the Riksdag, so the budget will definitely pass, but the prevailing argument could bring the party that brings it up close to electoral victory in the coming elections. Experts agree that the opposition completely trashed the budget proposal, the Conservatives capably defended their budget for the year, the Folk party had saved Bog from a disgrace. Let me just save here. I'll go with the Conservatives capably defended their budget for the year. Or I could go with the Folk party had saved Baga from a disgrace. I'll go with the middle one.
Ja, befäl!
Okay.
Uppfattat!
Let me just fix these armies.
Ja, befäl! Manöver! I might also want to create a naval invasion. Okay, Poland. Yeah, I might want to create another army to navally invade Helsinki. Okay, so Poland has a new king, Mendog III, also known as Mindaugas III of Lithuania. So apparently there's going to be the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. That should come soon. Okay, so let me look at my invasion of Denmark. Okay, this makes more sense. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. Hang on. Gå!
Let me just fix things. Okay. Fix my research. Okay, I know what I'm going to research next. Well, I can't do anything about the election, so... First Vars Beslutet 1936. While we have been at peace since 1814, other countries threaten to destroy that equilibrium. We can make preventative measures by funding military defense. Political power plus 50. Okay, so I know what I'm going to research next. Let me go to transport ship. So then that should allow me to make a naval invasion of Copenhagen and perhaps a naval invasion of Jutland itself. And it is mentioned that, okay, I think it was mentioned earlier through one of the events that Denmark was under a social democratic government, and it is. The Prime Minister of Denmark is Thorvald Stauning, who in real life was Prime Minister from 1929 to about the 1940s in Denmark, even during the German occupation. I think he was Prime Minister up until he died in 1942. I think in this timeline, he was also elected in 1929, but I could be wrong. Alright, let's continue.
Ja!
Let me look at my focus tree. What happens if I found the Nordic Federation? That'd be pretty cool. But this comes way after. Interesting. The elections are coming up. Interesting. The Indo-Chinese Revolution started a month later than it usually does. Anyways, in regards to the army, I can either go with Douglas maneuver warfare or Holmquist modern infantry. Let me just look at the benefits. I have mostly infantry, so I feel like the Holmquist modern infantry is better. Ivar Holmquist, a senior member of our military staff, proposes we modernize our army by investing in the equipment of our forces and in the leadership of our generals. Replace conservative army leadership with Holmquist's army, effective change, leader experience gain plus 10%, recruitable population 1.00%, land doctrine research speed minus 20%, 1x 100% research bonus for superior firepower doctrine and grand battle plan doctrine, 1x 100% research bonus for support technology. So I'll do that. Let me just look at them. Yeah, I think that's better since I don't have as many tanks. Let me just look at my research for a second. Okay, the 1936 Swedish Riksdag elections. The election campaign of 1936 has been dominated by underhanded tactics, stirred up emotions, and thinly veiled threats. At this point, the only certainty is that whoever will stand victorious after this election will need to cooperate with others to secure a majority. If the Social Democrats stand to be victorious, and they would follow through with their threat to cooperate with the SVV, serious trouble is to be expected. If the Conservatives win instead, Baga will secure his position as the carrier of Lindman's legacy, but doubt will undoubtedly be sowed about the legitimacy of this election by disgruntled socialists. So I'm going to rock the boat a little bit. I'm going to go with the SAP triumphs. Okay, change in popularity of social democracy 10.00%. Gets event Cabinet Hansen 1. Okay. So that was bypassed. Okay, why isn't the government changed yet? Should soon. Cabinet Hansen 1. For the second time in history, the first time being in 1919, the Swedish Social Democrats, united in their SAP party, have secured a clear electoral victory over our rivals, especially the General Electoral League of Gustav Baga. We do not possess an absolute majority, however, and will need to form an alliance with one of the other parties in the Riksdag. During the campaign already, we left the door open to work together with the radically socialist SVV, which will likely be the most straightforward path to achieving socialism by democratic means, but it would also be a major upset and is likely to bring the Swedish right up in arms. Alternatively, we could form an alliance with the agrarian Bonderförbundet. This would likely require a compromise on our vision, but it wouldn't nearly polarize Swedish politics as much. Whichever option we choose, Lindman's conservative era seems finally behind us, and a new Sweden will rise from it. We will partner with the Bonderförbundet. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so now the Social Democrats are in power. Per Albin Hansen is Prime Minister. J. Rickard Sandler is Foreign Minister. Arthur Hedling is Economy Minister. Carl Schleiter is Minister of Interior, and Georg Andren is still head of intelligence, but I'm going to replace him with I'll replace him with Gustav Müller. Or, yeah, I'll replace, yeah, that's good. Let me bypass this. Okay, good.
Utöver att produkter de smörjer sitt gås och det är ifrån oss som de fått maten gås kan hända det retar en del men i så fall är det deras eget
Okay, let's hope they don't declare war on me. What's going on in Norway?
men när julskinkan kommer jo då är den fin
Uppställning!
bara gott vi klarar oss nog
Let me go with, let me go with, okay, I have to do that later. I'll go with Haglund and Sunger for my light tank manufacturer. Or I could go at Landsberg for a medium tank manufacturer. I'll go with this one.
Som storken från Skåne har gjort men det hindrar ju inte att folk pratar lort men någon bara går på vi klarar oss nog ändå.
Let me research 8mm Luftvarnskulsprutta M30. Let me see if I can do my planned naval invasion of Denmark. Should I invade from Malmö or Göteborg? How about 3 to... There we go. I like that. If I take Copenhagen, that's the best.
Manöver!
Okay, interesting. But I also want to have a naval invasion of Jutland, so let me take just one of my troops in.
Uppfattat!
Interesting. Let me go with Ivar Holmquist. Let me go from Göteborg to just... Alright, that's perfect. What is it? Okay. What? Okay, never mind.
No, que no he visto las noticias. Dale. Hablamos. Cuídate. Bye, mi amor. Dios te bendiga. Bye, bye.
Hey, Doris, I'll be leaving soon, okay? I have to get my jeans on, okay?
Get ready. You close for tomorrow.
I know. I also need jeans.
Yeah.
Do you need me pair of jeans? I'm going out to dinner tonight, so I need jeans. Oh, I also need a...
Espérate, que yo voy a meter.
I got it. Oh, I see a good pair. Okay. Let's continue. Alright. Let me see something. Okay, so my naval invasion is looking good. Okay, what happened in Italy? Okay, Giovanni Gronchi is now president under a social conservative government. They might have gotten rid of Alcide de Gasperi. I don't know if he can become president anymore. Okay, so let me just let me go for grand battle. Okay, I need to create a naval invasion of Helsinki, or Turku. I only have limited soldiers, though.
Go!
No, that's not what I wanted to do.
Standing! Manöver!
No, that's not what I want. Okay.
Ja, befäl! Ja, befäl! Gå! Ja, befäl!
Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Norway joined the Third Internationale. Now I need to beef up my soldiers along the Norwegian border. But I also got to worry about Finland. So okay, let me take this guy. Let me change the color of the army. Okay. Let me invade Norway in the Internationale. Many within the government considered the neutrality that has been de facto maintained by Sweden since 1815 holy. However, Norway has fallen to the syndicalist menace. And not only that, they joined the Third Internationale of the French Commune and the Union of Britain. In addition, aggressive rhetoric towards the liberation of the evil capitalist tyranny of Sweden is almost a daily occurrence among some in the rogue state that has spawned in place of our western neighbor. Don't know why it says western neighbor, another typo. With these threats, and keeping in mind that their formal ascension to the Third International Alliance may mean that the Norwegians will set loose their Anglo-French attack dogs on us, many consider it wise to abandon our neutrality, due to us as it may be, as the syndicalists won't have problems violating it, and it would make us only vulnerable to attack. In favor of an alliance with the Germans, our avid trade partners and known rival to the Third International. We should join the Reichspakt. Our neutrality will hold even in the face of these new challenges. I think we should join the Reichspakt. Okay, so now let me set this guy... Let me invade from Stockholm to Helsinki. But I also gotta, like, have more soldiers along the border with Norway. Will Germany let me join? Okay. Sweden has joined the Reichspakt. With a long history of economic ties to Berlin and rising radicalism in the region, Sweden has formally joined the Reichspakt. Germany accepted our proposal. We have received word from our embassy in Berlin that the imperial governments have approved of our petition to join their alliance as a vanguard against syndicalism. We stand together against anarchy. Boom. There we go. Looks like Scandinavia is going to become a battleground. Let me do some more army focuses. But let me also do this. The 1936 Crisis Act. Sweden was plunged into economic crisis due to our attachment to the Sweden was plunged into economic crisis due to our attachment to the Middle Europa economic bloc. The Riksdag has developed a plan to save our economy by making sweeping economic changes. A series of decisions will reverse the economic downturn caused by Black Monday. A series of decisions to reverse the economic downturn caused by Black Monday will become available. And then after that, I think, build more factories, which is definitely what I need. But I also need, what I do need is I need more military factories. hang on. Maybe I should have gone down the okay. Maybe I should have gone down the conservative path. Considering... Okay, you know what? Let's do something. I might save here and go back to the conservative route to see if my military will be in better shape. Because I feel like if I'm going to fight wars on 2 fronts, or even 3 fronts, I need... what I need is more manpower. Okay. Let me just save here. Let me go back to 20th September 1936. Okay. Right, I'm going to do the AV remains on top. Change in popularity of social conservatism, 3.00%. Get to cabinet Baga 2. Remove national spirit, political instability. Okay, so I kept the conservatives in control. Let me bypass that. Let me bypass... I'll wait for that to bypass later, so... Let's continue.
Go!
Hang on.
Uppfattat! Ja!
Okay, it says no divisions, but I'll fix that later.
Order!
Cabinet Baga 2. Many thought Gustav Baga incapable of maintaining the legacy of his predecessor Arvid Lindman, but they were proven wrong. Once more, the General Electoral League triumphed at the polls, trumping the Social Democratic SAP. Despite our glorious but successful defense of our plurality, we have not been able to secure an outright majority, and thus the Riksdag is hung. If we are to form a government, we shall have to cooperate with one of the other parties. Either we could continue the Baga 1 cabinet by continuing our cooperation with the Liberal Volkspartiet, with whom we can find strong agreement on economic matters, or we could agree to form a coalition with the agrarian Bondeförbundet, which might be a better match on the social aspect of governance. An agrarian conservative government looms. We shall continue with the Volkspartiet. I'll go for an agrarian conservative government looms, which will bring the social liberal Bondeförbundet into government. Into the coalition government, to be exact. So now... Okay. Christian Günther is foreign minister. Arthur Hedling is economy minister. Kurt Everlöf is minister of interior, and Georg Andren is still head of intelligence. Okay, let me just... Okay, let me create that version of Helsinki. But you know what, let me worry about that later, because Norway will probably be a bigger concern. Play down the opposition victory path later. See how that turns out. You know what? let me save here. Let me go back to the other save. I think I'm going to continue with the Hansen path for a little while and see how that turns out. December 10th, 1936. Alright, back to Hansen's government. We'll see how that turns out. But let me send this guy, hang on, this guy
Order.
back to Army 3. Because we're going to need him if we're going to fight Norway first. Von Statens Jernbagar. The cold, large expanse of Scandinavia has a very clear infrastructure problem, especially as you get further north. The Statens Jernbagar is a long-standing government-owned railway company who we can fund to help our infrastructure. And I'll get 2 infrastructure in Kiruna. No, I'll get 2 infrastructure in Kiruna, Lapland, and Norrland, and 1 infrastructure in Svealand. Response to Black Monday. The Swedish economy is tightly connected to the German one, and as such, the economic downturn in Berlin soon found its way to the purses of the average Swede. As such, the Prime Minister has appointed a crisis commission under the Minister of Finance to prevent... Okay, what's this? Well, it's now 1937, a new year. The Crisis Commission reports. The Crisis Commission was set up in the 1936 Crisis Act... Sorry. The Crisis Commission that was set up in the 1936 Crisis Act has delivered the reports of last year's balance. They have been left on your desk. Ah, splendid, I will have a look. Insofar as we can't afford this, we will take additional loans to fill the gap. Unemployment will be lowered by 2% thanks to the natural tendency of the unemployment to move towards the equilibrium. Alright, back to this. As such, the Prime Minister has appointed a Crisis Commission under the Minister of Finance to prevent Sweden from ailing away under the effects. With unemployment rising, tax returns shrinking, this will surely be a daunting task, however. With unemployment rising and tax returns shrinking, this will surely be a daunting task, however. Free budget, 4.0 million kroner. Inflation 0%, unemployment 28%, related debt 0 kroner. So I can drop the gold standard, 50 political power, cut military, I could raise taxes, start a public works program. So that'll be... Okay, the Swedish National Bank, drop the gold standard. The Swedish National Bank, the Reichsbank is held to convert Swedish kroner into gold at standardized value by law. We can suspend the standard, however, as per the instruments of the government in times of financial ruin, which will make Swedish goods easier to sell internationally, but also cause inflation. I could borrow 2 million. I'll do that. Now I'm in debt, 20 million. Okay. Let me start a public works program. If I can nationalize and... I'll subsidize raw resource export. A large part of the Swedish economy... Well, let me start the game again. A large part of the Swedish economy relies on the export of raw resources such as iron ore and tungsten. By subsidizing these exports, we will find our fair amount of foreign currency flowing our way, which will aid our recovery significantly. I'll do that. I'll also drop the gold standard. So there's 2% inflation. Cut welfare funding. I don't know if I want to do that. I'll raise taxes. That'll give me minus 25.00 construction speed. We can bring in some extra money to spend on countering Black Monday by raising some extra taxes. This may stifle the market and even further, however, and the Swedish liberals are heavily opposed to such a measure. I'll worry about that later. Greta Garbo stars in Camilla. Sorry, Greta Garbo stars in Camille. Greta Garbo stars in an American-produced movie, Camille, a romantic drama. Greta Garbo is one of the biggest names in the movie industry, both in Sweden and in the world. The movie is rather harmless and holds a high-quality production, but some of the more conservative elements in our society are most upset. Her clothes are a bit revealing. They are calling for censorship. What should we do? The outfit is too revealing. Censor it. It seems most entertaining. Send me a ticket. I'll do that. Political power plus 15. Now let me send this guy to Army 1 along the Norwegian border. So if I cut military funding, I'll get... I don't want to cut military funding. Okay, cut welfare funding, I don't know. Print extra money. We can order the Reichsbank to print us... Sorry. We can order the Reichsbank to print us extra money to spend. However, this may cause the value of the kroner to drop. I'll take that risk. 5% inflation, not good. Okay, Romanian Civil War, interesting. It's been a while since I've seen that happen. Let's hope the kingdom wins against Iron Guard Romania. Let me look at my... Print extra money. I don't know if I want to do that. Let me nationalize a major company. Unemployment will be lowered by 2%. Fact is, the goals of major companies are often aimed at making the most profit rather than providing as many people as possible with a living. To that end, it might be worthwhile to nationalize one of these major companies and redirect it towards that goal. This will not be cheap, however. Okay, now if I print extra money. Crisis situation improves. The unemployment level has fallen below 24%. As a result, the Swedish economy is starting to show its first signs of recovery as more people work and they start spending their salaries again. Although the worst is over, we remain far from pre-crisis levels. Modify Black Monday by consumer goods factories minus 5%, construction speed plus 10.00%, and production efficiency cat factory and dockyard output all by plus 5.00%. Let me do that. The thing, if I raise taxes, construction speed will decrease by minus 25.00%. I'll do that instead of cutting military funding and cutting welfare funding. Okay, so I have 30 million kroner. Stand up in America. If I print extra money, it'll cause more inflation. I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, Japan's at war at Transamur. Interesting. Let me research Bofors 37mm Panzerwehr in Scotland. Hope I pronounced that right. Let me do this. A coalition of the like-minded. The Social Democrats did not win the election on our own. Our coalition and compromise helped to secure a majority. We must take advantage of our ideological diversity. Change in popularity of social democracy, 5.00%. Let me start a public works program. 30 million kroner. The most straightforward way to combat unemployment is to kickstart large public works projects the unemployed can participate in. They can use the money they earn with this to take care of their families. As an added bonus, As an added bonus, the money they spend will enter the economy and help it recover. So I'll do that. Now I still need to repay back my debts. So if I can print extra money, Let me print extra money, repay 2 million kroner. So, okay, so increase the Reichsbank interest. Banks in Sweden take loans from the Reichsbank. By increasing the interest over these loans, we can influence the money supply and lower our inflation once. Okay, let me do that. So now inflation is just 2%, unemployment is 21%. Okay, I did pretty good. Let me rally public support, which will increase social democratic popularity. Let me legislate freedoms as well. Final sentence of the Sala gang. In the summer of last year, a gang led by a name called Sigvard Nilsson. In the summer of last year, a gang led by the name called Sigvard. In the summer of last year, a gang led by a name called Sigvard Nilsson Thurneman, a name he added himself, presumably because it is an anagram for manhunter, was arrested for a murder. Soon the investigations reached nationwide front news, as it turned out that the gang was not only guilty of murders dating all the way back to 1931, but also because it was ran more or less like an occult group that went under the nickname the Magic Circle. The leader and the conspirators were sentenced in court the other day, most of them to life in prison, but the leader was considered so mentally ill that he was sentenced to closed psychiatric care. Many people are outraged and would have wanted to see Sigvard Nilsson Thurneman put away for good. We must respect the court's decision. Closed care it is. Arrange for the monster to be relocated to a prison. I'll respect the court's decision. Okay, the Second American Civil War has begun. Okay, have Ukrainian troops in Sweden along the Norwegian border. That's good. Let me research construction. Okay, it looks like the Kingdom of Romania is losing. That sucks. Democracy prevails in the Philippines. Cool. Okay. When's my budget going to increase? Can print extra money. I don't know. If I print extra money, I'll wait about. I'll do that later. How do I leave the Reichspakt? have to... Germany's not under a paternal autocrat government, though. I might leave the Reichspakt later if I can. Okay, the Empire of Japan annexed Transamur. Uh-oh, Tukhachevsky. If he gets an atom bomb, we're all screwed. Please don't hurt us. Let me do education reforms. The Swedish education system has been long since neglected by the conservatives and requires intervention. We must ensure widespread literacy in education and will settle for nothing less. Gains national spirit, reformed education, which grants research speed plus 3.00%. I'll do that. How can I bring my unemployment to 0? Takes a little bit every year, I guess. I don't know. So how do I ratify the Treaty of Stockholm? Interesting.